Great news! There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price, and it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Welcome to a short, highly questionable week. Dan Le Batard got a little emotional watching the Hall of Fame speeches, so he called in sick. I'm Izzy Gutierrez. This man's starting to realize he can never take a day off. And that over there is Sarah Spain. Sarah, what do you like on the show?
I like you getting tricked by Papi into shaking his hand.
Not going to happen. Let's do this, Papi.
What do you think of the way the NBA rallied together to defend LeBron?
So in case you missed this, LeBron James was doing a string of media appearances after he opened up a public school in Akron, Ohio, and the president decided to chime in with this tweet. He said LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike. Those last three words was just him randomly taking on the GOAT debate by saying, I like Mike, as in Michael Jordan here. Look, the timing of this is obviously kind of ridiculous, right? Because not only did LeBron just open up a public school in Akron, but anybody who graduates that school is guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron, okay? So talk about the intelligence. He is literally trying to educate America here. And when you look at the responses, you know, there were some like Adam Silver who went on to discuss LeBron's intelligence and his business acumen, which might be even greater than the president's himself. And then there were also other responses like Bradley Beals, who just said, I'm tired of this, okay? And you got MJ saying, Michael Jordan, saying, I support LeBron. He's done so much for his communities. Now, some people might have thought, hey, Michael Jordan could have said more, but I'm also of the opinion, like, man, I'm not going to engage myself in this ridiculous argument here. Everybody else can do that for me.
Yeah, it's not surprising to see from the NBA and the WNBA. It's an incredibly progressive league, and LeBron James sort of stands alone, not just as a talented basketball player, but what he's done throughout his communities, throughout his time in the NBA. This recent school, the most notable among them. The timing is odd. This is a guy who previously has taken a couple of shots at the president, and the president hasn't responded, and people have said, all right, he knows better. He would never go after LeBron. That's not a fight he wants to pick. Well, now he's picked it, and he's seeing the response from everybody that's even within the orbit of LeBron James responding in his defense. And what you said about Jordan, I think is right. I would love for him to come out and have a stronger statement. But falling into another back and forth with the president about something as silly as this seems beneath his airness.
It's just confusing as to what the end game is here with that tweet at all, because at this time, insulting the intelligence of a man who's trying to better the country makes zero sense.
How should Ohio State move forward with Urban Meyer?
Well, here's what we know so far after a weekend of information. We know that Urban Meyer knew of incidents regarding Zach Smith and domestic abuse back in 2009 and in 2015. We know, according to him, that he ran it up the flagpole, the proper channels at the institutions, which is important for two reasons. One, it lets us know that he did know about these incidents, but it also seems to cover him from violating a clause in his contract that requires him to report said incidents. We also know that he seems to be protecting himself against the details of his contract and just trying to really protect his check if Ohio State goes on to fire him as a result. And also we know that the university is committed to an investigation to get through this, but conveniently say that this investigation is going to last about 14 days when the season is about 3 weeks from now. So it seems to me that this is less of an issue of morality as it is just a way to find who lied about what and see if Urban Meyer can keep his job.
Yeah, this should be about, do we believe that this man should continue to work when for almost a decade he has found ways to enable and protect a man who is alleged to have beaten his wife on multiple occasions, a man who via text messages that Brett McMurphy has from Courtney Smith has acknowledged strangling her, has admitted even in interviews that he probably caused some of the bruises, though his interpretation of how she got them is much different than hers. All this being said is that now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of why and when Urban Meyer lied, because it's about the buyout. It's about $38 million that Ohio State will owe him if they fire him without cause. Right now, to me, it seems like he's saying, I misspoke, as a way to protect that money so that if they do decide to get rid of him, he can claim he followed all the proper protocols. In the end, we shouldn't be talking about whether his lying to the media is the real crime. We should be talking about whether there's a morality issue here, there's an issue with walking into recruits living rooms and saying, I'm going to lead your son, this 18-year-old guy? Why is he putting things up on the wall in the football area that say respect women? Why is he giving speeches about not lying? If this is a man who continues to do that, whether or not you believe he technically violated a Title IX policy or any other OSU policy, the question is this someone that you want to remain the face of your school, the highest paid employee in your state, and the guy that you know going forward is in charge of all of these men? Because Urban Meyer's wife said she was afraid of Zach Smith and suggested that Courtney Smith get a restraining order. If his wife is saying all those things about Zach Smith, how can he in good conscience have been continuing to put him out onto a field, on buses, on planes, surrounded by these young men that he was supposed to lead and be an example for? We're talking about the wrong things in this case. I think it's inevitable that Urban Meyer will be fired. The question is whether he'll get paid on his way out.
Say what you will about how difficult relationships are and whether Urban Meyer should have been the judge of what was going on between Zach and Courtney Smith. It's been 6 years of that. It was at least 6 years of that from 2009 to 2015. And he got to a point where he actually fired him and still said it was nothing in public. What was it going to take for Urban to then fire Zach Smith if he wasn't under the pressure to do so?
The question is, why did he fire him? Was it for violating a protective order? Because if it never mattered before what might have happened in 2009 or what might have happened in 2015, then why fire him just as it's becoming public that those incidents took place? Did you care about the incidents or did you care about us finding out about them? I think we already know that because he spent 9+ questions trying to evade it until he no longer had the option to deny knowledge of it.
Do you buy that Cam Newton holds his wide receivers back?
One of Cam Newton's former wide receivers, Kelvin Benjamin, who is now a Buffalo Bill, had this to say to The Athletic. He said, if I was with any other accurate QB, let's be real, anyone, and then he went on to point out Aaron Rodgers, among others, that he would be way better positioned than he is today. Even though he, as a rookie, had a 1,000-yard season with Cam Newton. Even though without Kelvin Benjamin on the Panthers were 21-3. I know probably somewhere where all the wide receivers go huddle up in the offseason and talk about their diva ways, he's got people saying, yeah, I feel you, man. I understand how difficult it is. But Cam Newton, as a quarterback, is proven to be a guy that you can build an offense around where it doesn't really require him to have the greatest of wide receivers. He can have a Greg Olsen. He can use his personal skill set to get a team to a strong regular season record and even to a Super Bowl. So for him to complain about the accuracy, essentially, of Cam Newton, I entirely understand. But for him to come out and say this publicly when Cam Newton is more important to that team than Benjamin ever was, he just doesn't have much backing, and I don't really know why he would say it.
Yeah, it's not worth bringing up, first of all. And this is especially awkward because Cam Newton, when he found out Kelvin Benjamin was being traded, was like, this is a guy I want in my foxhole. He stood up for him. And as Izzy pointed out, he set the rookie receiving yard for the Panthers his first year. He had a great outing. So to say from the get-go it wasn't a good fit is incorrect. He got an ACL injury and he missed Cam Newton's MVP season, and then they didn't perfectly fit together after that. Like Izzy said, 21-3 when Benjamin was out. This is a guy in Cam Newton who certainly has some accuracy issues and is never going to be put in the same box with Aaron Rodgers if you're a wide receiver and you want the ball to be in the exact spot for you. But at the same time, he clearly has a tremendous and an enormous skill set. This is a guy who, up until this offseason, the Panthers had not traded for or signed a single Pro Bowl offensive player for him. So he's making good on all the players around him. The tight ends, the wide receivers who maybe wouldn't be producing elsewhere. For Kelvin Benjamin, this sounds like sour grapes, and it sounds like a guy who needs to focus on the place he is now, especially when you're dogging a guy that used to have your back.
It sounds like a guy who thinks he's in the same conversation as Antonio Brown and Julio Jones and all the other elite wide receivers when he essentially had one really good year and one time came into training camp about 40 pounds overweight. So before he wants to talk like this, he might want to perform on that level, and good luck doing so in Buffalo this year.
That's right, 40 pounds overweight. No 5, 10, 15, 40 pounds overweight. You couldn't get separation from anybody, you know? That's it. And then he complains, 21-3 without you. What are you talking about? You're lucky that you have a job with the Bills, you know what I mean? Just wait until he realizes that Josh Allen is his quarterback now.
Kelvin's still going to have to grow a good 6 to 8 inches if he wants to catch those overthrown balls.
Right. Was Juanito Football 4 INT debut just a bump on the road? Or the end of the comeback zin?
That would be Johnny Football, not Juanito Football. And zin is SZN. Yes. That's comeback season, which he's trying to trademark
Nailed
here.
it.
And if you thought you'd seen rock bottom of Johnny Manziel's football career because he got to the CFL or because he was traded in the CFL from the Hamilton Tiger Cats to the Montreal Alouettes, you didn't see his debut as a Montreal Alouette yet. Here's some of these picks. He threw 4 of them in this game. And listen, I'm not here to say that his football career is over. But when you're talking about having a 4 INT game and getting benched in the CFL on your second team in less than a month, then yeah, I would say that's less than a bump in the road and more of a sign that the NFL is no longer in your future.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic about Johnny Manziel's future in the NFL, but I will say this. You've just arrived at a new team. They were already known to be the absolute worst team in the CFL, and you're thrust into the starting position where you have an admittedly terrible game. I don't, like I said, think that this is going to be the comeback season and he's going to make it to the NFL, but I will say it's sort of unfair to presume that his dreams of returning to football at any level are over because of one terrible game on a brand new team that's admittedly terrible.
Lots of excuses for Johnny Manziel there.
No excuses for Johnny Manziel. I'm not a Johnny Manziel fan. I'm just saying that none of us would like to be judged by our very worst outing, and that arguably was.
Well, that was bad, but his coach was worse.
Really? What? Mike Sherman? That's his coach, right? His former Texas. Oh, okay. So what did he do here? He can't
we're struggling
to properly take off the headset.
Hello. Okay.
You know what you got to do in this situation, right, Papi? You just got to pull the Papi and take the whole shirt off, right?
No. That's right. That's what you do. Just take the whole shirt off. That's it.
No.
I think Papi's old enough to remember when that was actually a style of shirt. It was usually women wearing it, but he's pulling it off. It's really...
At what point does he realize that the cameras are going to be on him?
I mean,
this is going
to
be
be fair, I already would have ripped this out, and I would have, there would be cursing. This is great. Now he's got assistants. It's a giant mess.
I think that's a good look for him. He should wear that every game from now on.
Wow.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Something I shouldn't do. Crystal said you probably shouldn't do this, but you guys all see this? That's one. That's one.
Whoa. Has he been cupping?
This is the best one.
Ow. Yep, you guessed it. I'm a speed bump, so I've got one job. I slow you down. So imagine how I feel about Geico, who does way more. Like, not only could they save you money on car insurance, but they've been around for over 75 years, giving people fast and friendly claim service. Ow. Plus, they got a nifty mobile app that gives you 24/7 access. Ow. Just doing my job, buddy.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Time to play the game that finally has the show he always wanted. Do you question?
You give us topics and events, and we question them.
Do you question Farouk Aminou's shot selection?
Well, we take it to South Africa here, where it's Africa versus the world in the NBA Africa Games. It was a close game, and here's the finish.
To go. Shot clock turned off. Team Africa can tie.
It's Team Africa looking to tie it. That's Al Farouk Amino. Whoa!
Oh, no.
So much time left. Not really that good of a three-point shooter. Man, in your face, two guys wide open. Thank you for that, by the way, giant red arrows. Al Farouk Amino could have used those, actually, at that point.
Oh.
Man, that is a terrible shot selection, and I'm pretty sure that's why the Portland Trailblazers should not be in the same conversation as any of the elites in the Western Conference.
I had problems focusing on the basketball once they got the ball to Fournier, because ever since I heard about that guy, I can't stop thinking about Fournier's disease. And please don't Google that. Please. Whatever you do, it's Fournier's disease. Don't Google it, though. Fournier's disease. Don't do it.
But let me tell you how to spell it, just in case you do.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty bad, but I have seen worse.
Oh, yeah?
No.
Is it all Carmelo? It's all Carmelo, isn't it?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, man. That's a
So
bit
close.
strong. That is a bit strong. See, I was going to say I feel sorry for the South Africans who got to see that ending and think that's how NBA drama works out. But it really is sometimes. Look at that, Jared Jack of the Knicks. What are you doing?
What sport is that at that point? It's definitely not basketball.
Do you question if Phil is making this work for him?
Yeah, so everyone's talking about Phil Mickelson, not on the course, but in this new commercial for Mizzen and Main, his dress shirt, golf shirts, and it's something.
Oh.
It's a lot.
This is the first time I'm seeing this.
Oh, Izzy, you're in for a treat. It only gets better. Oh, yeah.
So the clothes
Look at
weren't
that
bad
hip
enough.
action.
What is he doing?
Whoa, hello. Oh, the lawnmower. Oh, wow. Ninja flexibility.
He does have some flexibility. I don't think I can get it.
I don't like that finger wag at all. What's that? Oh, that's a good worm, actually.
Do we have a reel of the takeout? Do we have a reel of the things that didn't make the commercial? Because those have to be way funnier.
No, but we do have a reel of him golfing, which is what we'd prefer to see him doing.
So that the Bridgestone Invitational? Tell me you can dance.
Wow. No way.
Give me a dance, Phil.
That is a beautiful shot. And that doesn't look like a mizzen in Maine.
There it is.
There we go.
Right, way to embrace the dorky and awkward. I love it.
All right, so you know when they say things are so bad they're good? At first I wanted that commercial to be one of those things, but in order to be bad, it's good in dancing, you have to actually be good enough to make the bad funny. And it was just awkward and terrible. But hey, guess what? You got your money's worth. We are all talking about this ad, but we are not buying your shirts.
Nope. I am absolutely wanting to hug Phil Mickelson at this point, and I will buy any shirt that he offers because that is somebody who's embracing the dorky. I'm a fan.
Props to the worm. That was a good worm.
And that wasn't the last time he danced.
Uh-oh.
That's right. Look at him now.
There you go. Slam it in there.
Okay.
Oh, is this going to be a thing?
I think I'm over it now. I think he's jumped the shark there. I think he's gone Steph Curry with the shimmy. I'm over it. Give it up, Phil.
Yeah, nope.
None of that in the PGA this weekend.
That was a quick shark jump.
Do you question if this was appropriate?
This is James Franklin, the head coach at Penn State University, talking about playing paintball with his players. That's important.
Sounds fun.
And I'm not kidding, and I'm probably going to do something I shouldn't do. Crystal said you probably shouldn't do this, but you guys all see this? So that's one. That's one.
Whoa, has he been cupping?
This is the best one.
Whoa!
Most of those shots came when I wasn't supposed to be getting hit.
Again, it's important that he's talking about playing paintball with his players, not just randomly getting hit with his players. Now listen, I don't think it's appropriate at any time to turn your backside to the audience and start raising your pant leg in a media setting. However, if you're going to pull a J.J. Watt at the end of it and show one of the most disgusting bruises, maybe I'll let it slide.
It's 2018. If anything, he should be thinking about the memes, right? No context when you've got memes. And that, my friends, that showing your butt and lifting your leg, your pant leg, is it's going to show up in places he really wishes it won't.
You know, you can't pull your shirt with a body like that. You know, you got to have a body like this to pull your shirt, buddy. This is what you do. You know, if you're in a press conference, you say, "Yeah, have a ride. This is what I do better than anybody else." Yeah. That's it. What you see is what you get. Coming up next on my son's TV show.
Nope.
And by this happened to him, it means do this to himself.
And that's the frustration
He's just like this ball of positive energy, and there's been so many great moments where I realized, oh my God, I love this man. I could see a forever with him.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that has so much room for activities. See? Or no?
And so much room for Dana's big jokes. You tell us what to watch on TV, we'll tell you if we're intrigued.
Tonight on the Tennis Channel, Rogers Cup Tennis.
Not so much, at least not the early rounds, but we're going to take you here to the City Open in D.C., where a 19-year-old Greek player named Stefanos Tsitsipas had this happen to him during the break.
Nope.
And by this happened to him, it means do this to himself.
And that's the frustration he's feeling.
I think you're supposed to do that with your racket in tennis, not with your head. I don't know if he's got this right. Clearly, he's only 19 years old. He doesn't know the rules yet. Sarah, you intrigued?
I'm not into Rogers Cup, no, but I will say back in the old days of field hockey, I'd get frustrated and slap my leg enough to leave a handprint on it. So I kind of get where he's coming from, but I did not punch myself in the face.
Not enough to get you concussed, so your way is better. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very triple. Listen, I got an advice for Stefano. Next time that you want to play tennis in a tournament, buddy, you got to wear a helmet. You wear a helmet, you know. I'm telling you, you wear a helmet and you can hit your head as many times as you want that you'll be safe.
It's like
wear a big helmet, that's
tennis
right.
Has never been safer.
Yeah, let's check the rules. I bet it's allowed.
On ABC, the season finale of The Bachelorette.
The season finale, thankfully, I didn't even know it started, but here's a clip.
Garrett is just so full of life. He's just like this ball of positive energy, and there's been so many great moments where I realized, oh my God, I love this man. I could see a forever with him.
I just feel so good. Absolutely incredible. She makes me feel, words can't even describe how she makes me feel. I've never felt this way before. Maybe it's the girl, maybe it's the equator, but I'm on top of the world right now. I couldn't get any higher than this. She is everything that I've dreamed of. I feel so like, I don't know, just caught up in her.
Guys, there is real drama tonight, and here's why. Not only do we have all the regular drama of The Bachelorette, where she has two men, both of whom love her, and one of whom is going to go home brokenhearted, but that one right there, who just made that terrible equator pun, she doesn't find out until after the show wraps that he likes a bunch of white nationalist and misogynist tweets on Instagram, which means we could find out that she is engaged to a guy that she later finds out is a totally terrible person. And won't that make for a great After the Rose? Stay tuned.
Sarah, I didn't even ask you anything. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But listen, there are two things that guy has to do to impress that lady. Number one, he got to be able to fish. You see those fishes there? He was looking if he got to go in and he got to throw his line. And number two, when he dive in, he got to go head in first.
Oh, head in first.
That won't do it. That won't do it. You got to go head in first. That's right. That's the way you do it. And then you got most of the tournament under your wing.
Also, Mr. Contestant, you knew you were going to be on TV. Maybe you should think of the words beforehand.
Right. Also, 3, to leech your account.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
We know you can't handle too much of us, so we're only here till Wednesday.
Well, man, I don't understand this. How the hell Dan gets his vacation and I don't get my vacation?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not fair.
I mean, you cannot take a day off.
You're the star of the show, Papi.
Everything falls apart.
Yeah, there's no show without you, Papi. We don't care if Dan's here.
And let's be real,
no one cares if Dan's here.